back. Hey, Benji.
Hi, Avi.
How's it going?
I'm doing swell. How are you?
I'm a little swollen also.
Yeah.
A little edema. Nothing serious, I hope.
You don't look good.
Thank you. I was afraid I was going to be rusty on the intro, and we're back because we haven't done it in so long.
It's been too long.
I wasn't rusty. It came out so smooth.
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons we didn't do it for a while was, unfortunately, your father,
Wow, you're getting right into that.
Zichrono Livracha, passed away.
I wanted to build some tension, but now people, when you say Zichrono Livracha, they can guess the ending.
Yeah.
Thank you, Benji. If those were condolences you were trying to convey, I appreciate it. Yes, my father passed away in August, quite suddenly. I mean, pretty suddenly. So there was that. It was sad and also a little bit funny.
Funny how? Like,
well, the death part is not so funny, but some funny stories happened at the Shiva. Most of them involving moi.
okay.
Should I tell you the jokes?
Maybe talk about your dad for a second.
I'm pretty sure that both of our listeners heard
this will memorialize your father in
people don't tune into
our
this.
listeners'
My father was a great father, funny guy, friendly guy. Hundreds of people came to his funeral. Between 600 and 700 people.
Wow.
The Lincoln Square Synagogue was packed to overflowing. There was an overflow room downstairs, and it was also televised on Zoom. I don't know if you say televised. It was on Zoom.
Yeah, I watched it.
And how was I?
Everyone was appropriate and somber overall.
Yeah. And so there was that. So I'm not going to summarize my father's life in the podcast. We would need a series.
He was a good father.
He was he was an excellent father. His name was Marvin Sussman, and we're dedicating this and every episode to Marvin Sussman.
Well, a dedication is different than a sponsorship. I mean, I don't want to give up every...
He can't sponsor anymore.
He can no longer sponsor.
I spoke to is it called a probate attorney? He said that
I think so.
It's self-dealing or something. It can't be...
I did not know your father.
I would have to tell my siblings.
It's not all about me, but I did not know your father very well, even though I knew you.
Now.
I knew you very well.
Not really. We didn't really know each other until later. I think the first time...
I've known you for a very long time, and he's been around.
Well, not long enough.
Apparently not.
Not long enough. Anyway, let me tell you the funny things that happened.
Sure.
So we're at the funeral, and the Rabbi Robinson, may he have a refuah shlema, by the way, he since then underwent a cardiac event and was treated and is now healthy. He was saved in the hospital, some kind of aortic, a serious thing with the aorta.
Wish him refuah shlema.
Yes, and he thanked my father for making him aware. That's my father, not on purpose, but made him aware that he needs to go to the hospital, and he did. And it saved his life. So my father posthumously saved the rabbi's life.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
They were good friends. And anyway, this is what happened. Rabbi Robinson, can we say his name on the podcast? I think so. He's a rabbi. He's a public figure.
Sure.
He was giving us a going down the checklist of what's going to happen at the funeral, where we're going to be giving the eulogies. And I'm the oldest of 6 children, and my mother and my aunt, and 2 brothers, 3 sisters. And so we all had a tear kriya. So we're going to tear kriya, and then I'm going to tear for the men, and then this woman here is going to tear for the women. And then I want to get everyone's names and who's speaking and what in the order and how to pronounce the names correctly. And then at the end, I'm going to need to get you out of here quickly because you have to be at the cemetery by a certain time. Anyway, but before I get started with all this, does anyone quickly have any questions? So I raised my hand. He said, yes, Avi. And I said, why do people have to die?
How did you respond?
So I got the reaction that I wanted, which was one of our own. Is he serious?
We laughed through our tears.
We laughed through our tears. The other funny story.
No, there's a lot of laughter, though. Yeah.
Is when an old friend of his, I won't mention this person's name, even though I could, but he's like a lawyer. He might like charge us or something. He might want to get royalties. Ploney.
Esquire. Yeah.
Ploney. And Esquire. And he comes, they're an old friend of my father, very old friend. I remember as a kid, they were young friends as my mother and my father and him and his wife were friends as a young couple, and then throughout their lives. But this guy's very liberal. As we say in Hebrew, liberali.
Yep.
And on many issues. And my father was he was liberal on many things, but was very traditional about synagogue policy. So he was not in favor of making changes, for example, for women's minyanim, or for certainly lowering a mechitza, which is the divider between the men and the women in an Orthodox synagogue. Benji, how often you go? Because you go to that synagogue in Ra'anana. That's
progressive.
Right, progressive. So my father was less progressive and certainly didn't want changes to be made so easily. And this guy did, and so they fought over the years. My father had a guy he fought with who was to the left of him. This guy also got to the right of him. And I remember like emails and I can't believe what he wrote me, and isn't it writing about. And anyway, so this guy was saying, Avi, your father, we would fight. I would write a nasty email to him, and he would respond. And then, but if he went too far, he would apologize. And if I went too far, I would apologize. But then your father would surprise me. This is like the first day of the show. Your father, second day. Your father would sometimes surprise me because he'd have opinions that I wouldn't think he would have, that I would actually agree with him on. Your father wasn't the kind of guy you could put in a box. I said, well, actually, yesterday afternoon, we succeeded in putting my father in a box. They told us to do it.
Right.
Anyway, so that was the other joke.
Meaning your father's passing,
Other than that, it
was not just fodder for comedy routines. I mean, it was also very meaningful and upsetting. And
yes, although my father was
impactful.
Of course, it's impactful. Yeah,
it's very hard.
Well, we try to keep.
My own father passed away, so
this is about me, Benji, not about you. Mine's more recent.
I know.
My grief is more recent.
Although I do remember from my father's shiva, there are a lot of people that make it about them. Like, first of all, not to make it about me again, but
I didn't have that so much.
I am really good at shiva. Like, I don't have so many skills.
I think I didn't notice that because I think I'm making it so much about me that making it about them bounces right off me. But go on with your small story.
I'm just saying, like, it's like a superpower. I'm bad at other things, but Shiva's, I feel like I just make it. Now, maybe people look around and say, like, what's wrong with this guy? Why is he, taking over? But I feel like I have to take over sometimes.
When you go to visit.
When I'm a Shiva visitor. Yeah. So meaning I always focus on the person who passed away. I bring it back that I want to know the history. I'm very interested in history.
Yeah, you're very good at that. You are,
as you know. But I do remember a lot of people they'll talk about their own parents' illnesses or, Shiva, or it just
who cares? Excuse me, who cares?
Right. Then you have people that stick around forever, sitting in the front and like you're done,
So I have to say that I didn't really have any bad or uncomfortable, you're not saying they're bad experiences, but not so much like that. Also, it was very, very busy because all the siblings and my mom, and may she live a long life, and my aunt, may she live a long life. May everyone live a long life.
Everyone.
And so it was very, very busy. It was very loud. I lost my voice very quickly.
Huh. I've never heard that.
Yeah. I was very hoarse. That's why we couldn't record.
Exactly. For the past
few months.
Otherwise,
there's a lot of good material.
Well, I will say, I didn't know your father well, but he must have done a very good job because despite your significant inadequacies, like you're a good person.
Oh, thank you, Benji.
You have a good soul, and that comes from somewhere. And I know your mom. It comes partly from her, but it's also your father.
It's right. Mostly my mom, a little bit my father, and saying that in case she's listening.
Well, I said you're a mensch, and then you're saying mostly your mom?
Well, because she's alive to you.
Oh, you're still like kissing up to her. He can't hear you.
You're right.
Okay.
Can he hear? I have a theory about the afterlife.
Oh, that's going to be a big one, yeah.
It's very quick.
Yeah.
No matter what you think about the afterlife, I listen to a lot of podcasts. And one of them is by a modern atheist by the name of Sam Harris. We talk about him a lot.
Very much so.
He's a friend of the podcast. And I agree with him about so much, but just not believing in God part.
Right.
Or not believing there is a God part.
Right.
But 99.9% of his atheism I agree with. And except for the actual atheist part. I stress that.
Mm-hmm.
And but here's what I was thinking. What if the reason that we know there's a next moment, that we're now straying a little bit from the normal podcast topics into philosophy and maybe even neurobiology.
Oh boy.
But the way that we know that there's a next moment, you say you're like history. What's the difference between the present and history is that time passed.
Sure.
Now, if we take that to a micro scale, so a moment by moment is passing, second by second, right? But we don't really measure seconds, but we acknowledge there's a new moment. And that happens because there is a next moment that replaces the previous moment. When you die, there is no next moment. So it could be that we experience the last moment that we have as infinitely long because it's never replaced by the next moment, even though it ends when you die. But your experience of it had no end because there was no next moment of consciousness. Therefore,
but you meaning an atheist would say there's no more consciousness.
There is no. I agree. There's no more consciousness, but we experience the last moment as eternity, possibly.
We meaning once we die.
No, we die, but all we have our consciousness is just our experience.
Right, but you might, if you have no consciousness, then it was just the last moment.
It was the last moment, but you experienced it as eternal because it was never replaced.
That's not a proof or even a statement about the afterlife.
It is. Some
it's
of our
just saying that's your last moment. I have no idea what you're talking about.
But it's your last. You experience a moment in life as having. There was a moment before,
and there's a future.
There's a future.
Yeah.
But I'm focusing more now on the past, on the moment passing. In our experience, we don't experience, and we know there's a future, but the moment we live in is eternal, right? The present moment doesn't really have an end point in the future. It only gets one when the moment passes. It gets an end.
Okay.
So therefore, our experience of our last moment of consciousness could be, I'm not saying this is true, but it could be an experience of eternity. And then whatever you believe in is true for you for all eternity. I guess
that's some like philosophical point. It has nothing to do. So
if you believe that your father can hear you in the afterlife, if you believe that in Olam Haba, in the next, what do we call it? The afterlife, I guess.
Heaven to come.
And if you believe that you can see your ancestors, then you can, because your last moment is experienced as eternal. And then we can take it from there.
I'm having a hard time understanding you, and it might be.
Please write in to Benji to explain.
Look. I think when it comes to things like the afterlife, like Mashiach, there's so much out there, so much like nobody knows and nobody knew ever, right? Like there were ideas. I was recently at a wedding where I'm a relatively popular.
You have to rub it in that I can't go to weddings.
This one was very interesting, actually. It was someone that I know. I knew the Kala, and I knew
the bride,
and I knew the DJ, and that's it.
Okay,
I've never been to a wedding where I knew nobody else. The Kala, it was an amazing story. She had gotten engaged and was about to marry someone who was a soldier in Eguz, in the elite unit, who was wounded very badly in Lebanon, and then he's been recovering over the past year, almost a year, with her at his side, and it was like this incredible experience. But for me, I didn't know anyone. I was trying to hang out with the DJ, who's a son of a friend of ours, and he's like, "Can you please go away? Like, we're pretty cool up here." And I'm like, "Play Staying Alive."
Benji, I do this in part to get to meet women. Please, can you step aside?
And the Kala, there's only so much she's going to hang out with me. Like, she's dancing and focused on the chasam.
Busy. Yeah.
So I was put at like a rabbi's table, and the rabbi next to me was a Chabad rabbi from Morristown, New Jersey. And we, only had so much to talk about. So I got into Chabad with him. I figured I'd just talk about that. So I got into a little bit of the politics, like how you get a shlichus, how, whether there's a hasagas gvul, like what if you're right next to the other guy, who determines these things?
Explain what hasagas gvul is to some of our non-Jewish
infringing on someone else's, the way we look at it, like in terms of halacha or Jewish law, on their livelihood or on their right. So
competition.
Right. Like at what point is it unfair? I guess because you're really infringing on it. But the main topic we talked about was, of course, Mashiach, right?
The Messiah.
Because I was very interested in where Chabad Lubavitch is at this point on that issue. And basically what he told me was something that I pretty much knew. There's extremists within the movement who believe that the Rebbe, if you go to the Ohel, if you go to his grave, that he's not there. He's that much alive. And then there's the majority, seemingly, who believe that on some level, some metaphysical level, he's alive and is Mashiach, right? And is coming back, right? So I asked him the question. I said, well, if Mashiach comes tomorrow and you pray for it all the time, and it's not the Rebbe, are you shocked?
Are you shocked or
are
shocked?
You shocked?
Will he be surprised?
He said, I would be completely shocked. Yeah. Right. And I said, but would you be happy? And he said, no one's ever asked me that. And it took him a long time. And he's like, yeah, I would be happy. But what came to my mind was, meaning, if we had asked that man 5 years before the Rebbe, whatever, like I wouldn't say died in front of him, but before the Rebbe died, what's the likelihood that Mashiach will be someone who lived and died and came back? He'd say 0, right? And the way they get
the Messiah is someone by definition who lived and died and came and comes back.
That's Jesus. No, you're so confused. You're upsetting
I'm thinking
our
about
listeners.
Elijah. I'm thinking about Elijah.
That's
but we have that in our tradition, that Elijah the prophet.
But we've been fighting against the idea of a first coming and a second coming of the Messiah for a very long time, and we've been persecuted for not accepting ideas like that.
I was conflating Elijah and the Messiah.
Yeah, but what it reminded me of is that there's so much murkiness because he was throwing all kinds of ideas at me from Chazal, from the rabbis, to sort of bolster his point, is that you could say anything about Mashiach, and you can say anything about the afterlife, and you can find proof for it within our traditions because really nobody knew, and they hoped they knew, and they kept giving dates. Right, you're not supposed to give the kets, you're not supposed to like guess the time when Mashiach's going to come, but all of the Rishonim, all of the early rabbis did that actually, and it's interesting because like it could be just about anything. I am in no way an atheist, and I believe that there's more, but I also believe that I don't know anything.
All right, this has become the Chopped Liver on the Beach philosophy podcast.
I love it.
Yeah, I hope that each of our listeners do.
I hope so. And by the way, my aunt told me in the name of my great aunt, who also just passed away, unfortunately, my aunt Khani.
I'm sorry to hear that.
In Las Vegas, who I did not know very well.
I'm not sure you're supposed to tell me that because what goes down in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah, but I think once someone dies, you could talk about it.
I guess so. Statute of limitations.
But she was a great woman, a poet,
I also had an aunt who lived in Las Vegas.
Really?
Yeah. Aunt Evelyn. She was great.
Mine was better.
I have a story about her that's too long to tell on this podcast.
Oh, I'm not going to give the history of Aunt Khani and how she was the only child born in America when the family came here.
I'm not going to.
And how her father spent 7 years here making enough money to bring the family over. I'm not going to tell that whole story.
And I'm not going to tell how Aunt Evelyn's husband, Uncle Zeke, is a Silver Star awardee in the United States of America.
Boring. Mine's better.
For heroism in World War II. I'm not going to talk about it. Not going to talk about he was offered to have a post office named for him in Nevada.
Office?
A post office.
That's pretty cool.
I'm not going to talk about it. Not touching it.
Anyway, well, I'm glad you're back. I'm sorry about your father, even though some humor came from it. Some good humor, actually, relative to some other humor. I did a little stand-up recently.
Oh, I heard about that. Unfortunately, I couldn't go because I'm in the morning. It's the 11 months or 12 months.
But my greatest line, first of all, I learned some key rules to stand up. I got a lot more comfortable.
You should have read up on that before you went up.
One is to bring a guy named Danny Sadanoff.
You shouldn't mention his name, but because other people
of course
will
I can mention his name.
He's the best audience member.
He was holding the phone and he laughed so loud at everything.
Yes, he's a very good laugher.
Unbelievably hearty laugh, as if what you were saying is the funniest thing ever said.
Yeah, he's the best.
And it really, like, you don't have to add any sound effects to the video like I typically would. Like, he's really laughing. Yeah. But my greatest line had to do with a topic that I think we want to talk about a little bit. And it's something we've talked about a lot in the past, particularly me. And that is something that happened to me about 3 weeks ago. My mother was here, who you know. She's wonderful.
Oh, I know.
And she needed to get a taxi from Newark Airport home. She was going back. And she doesn't use Uber really for some reason. So I just
Because of the Germans.
Could be the Germans, yeah.
Because of Uber.
Could be. She really doesn't like the Germans. Yeah. And so I called a random number that was on Google for like New Jersey taxing limousine or something.
That's not what random means. Random means you just dialed a series of digits that you pulled out of a hat.
Oh, it was not fully random.
This was the number of a taxi company.
Right. Okay. But it was random in that there were many numbers listed and I picked one. The one that looked like it might be cheaper because the ad
ended in 99.
The ad that I clicked in was sort of, like stock photo.
Okay.
And I spoke to this guy, and he was a nice guy. And I said, listen, my mother's coming in at this time on this flight. Can you go in and put a sign up that says Mrs. Hain, whatever? And he said, yeah, fine. Okay. He said, let me ask you a question. I said, what? He said, what is this phone number you're calling me from? It's such a weird number. Is this India? And I said, no, it's Israel. Proudly, I said, right? And he said, oh, I'm not going to curse, but he said, F you. And he hung up.
Wow.
And the line I said in the comedy was that it made me a little bit upset, but only a little bit upset because I know that after 45 minutes in the car with my mother, he would become an anti-Semite anyway.
Right.
And
the reason I'm not laughing now is because I laughed at the
and it's just a matter of timing. It's a 24-hour gap there. Now, I said that, and the problem with saying that is that my mother then heard it.
Oh, no.
And she said, why would 45 minutes with me make someone an anti-Semite? And I said, because you're very Jewish.
But why would it make it?
My mother's fantastic. You're right.
Because anti-Semites hate what people should like about Jews and people in general, which is their humanity, their sense of humor, and their intelligence.
Yeah, they hate that about us. They're jealous of us. And I think that, look, you know my theory of Judaism, of Jews. I've probably said it on the podcast.
Let's hear it.
I didn't make it up. It's a rabbi whose name I don't know, but I'll try to get it, who said that Jews are just like everyone else, only more so. Right? Meaning if we're going to be a pedophile, we're going to be a Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein's not a pedophile.
If we're going to be bankers, we're going to be all the bankers.
We need to, I don't want to, this is not a hill I want to die on, but there's a difference between
I know, I don't want to talk about whether he's a pedophile or not based on you liking young girls who are not very young. He violated the
law.
Okay.
But this is not a pedophile, I think.
Not a topic I can manage or our listenership.
I insist on that distinction.
Yeah. But in any event.
I'm going to roll signs. Epstein, not a pedophile.
I, as you know, have been monitoring, for the sake of Jews worldwide, you're welcome, Jews out there. I've been monitoring these podcasts like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and the rest for years now.
Yeah.
And my primary concern in the war, as you know, always has been our perception in the world and the impact on U.S. voters, which I perceive to be the greatest existential threat to Israel, is the position of U.S. voters, because we will always need America or a superpower, and we're losing it. And politicians there are on some level beholden to their voters. But
on every level.
There's also AIPAC money. I'm just kidding. But I know, and you know, that when things are getting to be to the point they are now, like our ears prick up. Like I'm feeling it in the air.
Mine perk up. Yours prick up?
Sorry, perk up. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. I'm sorry. I think that when you are dealing with situations where there's discontent, where there's populism, where there's instability, and all those things exist for young Americans, meaning the average age of first home buyers has risen to 38. Think about that. Like they don't see anything in the future. And as you know, I feel, and you feel too, we're heading for a reckoning, an economic and potentially revolutionary reckoning when it comes to job loss related to AI in the next 10 years. That
could be
we're
worse than
in
that.
some trouble. Like
I'm reading a book called "If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies." So it's a little bit of an alarmist.
I would like to read that book after you, and I'll return it.
I hope we have enough time.
But I'm concerned about going forward, like where this leads. Everyone's been concerned about the left. And I'll say something very controversial here, may I? And you're going to disagree with me.
Let's hear it.
But and a lot of other people might also. But the left has its own problems when it comes to anti-Semitism and anti-Israel sentiment. A lot of that stems from ideologies that have been taught in universities forever from Muslims who are there and in Europe.
Not just from Muslims.
But some of that anti-Israel stuff comes from stuff that's noble. It comes from stuff that we've asked them to do forever, which is when you see something terrible and they perceive what we're doing in Gaza to be terrible and they call it even a genocide, and they're told it's a genocide and they're young and they don't know any better. They don't know any better, that they go out and protest. And they're upset about it, about where their tax dollars are going and what it's doing.
It doesn't have to go to tax. I hope the reason they're protesting genocide is not because of their tax dollars.
No, well, it is part. First
of all,
it is
the use of the word genocide in the context of what's happening here is abhorrent.
I didn't say it wasn't.
We should say that. We should never stop saying that. And it should not be about tax dollars because that just cheapens it.
Well, I think the point I'm trying to make is that I can better understand an American thinking they're going to impact policy by going in the streets when it's the U.S. funding whatever they're upset about, rather than something happening to the Uyghurs somewhere where there's very, very little to do about it, or in some other place in the world, in North Korea or something, where you can do what you want on the street, no one's going to care, and it'll definitely have no impact. But what I'm saying is that on the left, there's at least an element that I can understand. They're misinformed. It's very hard to be fully informed on this issue, and I get it. On the right, it's turning into pure out loud anti-Semitism, where anything can be said. I don't know, but Elon Musk really was at the forefront of opening up the floodgates in terms of being able to say whatever you want on these platforms. And I was basically okay with it until it hit us in the head.
And have it be amplified.
The pendulum swung so far back from wokeness that it hit us in the head. And we're getting it day after day. It's envy mixed with old tropes, mixed with insanity and conspiracy theory stuff.
Right.
I just gave a monologue, and I'd like you to respond with your own incredibly short monologue. Go.
I share your concern, not in exactly the same way. But I also listen to Candace Owens and to Tucker Carlson, and like you do, like you got me into listening to like you. I couldn't. You said listen to me, you won't believe what you hear, and I don't believe what I hear. And then Candace is of course even worse.
Yeah.
What I'm particularly concerned about is conspiracy thinking, which anti-Semitism is the oldest, deepest, most intuitive for non-Jews, but also Jews are also afflicted by a weakness for conspiracy thinking, and we need to educate our kids to not fall into that trap because it's so easy to in the age of what's it called, the internet, the interweb.
I'm not sure. I thought it was a fad, but it turned into a real thing.
It's sticking, well, like the Cabbage Patch
if I may
Kids.
interrupt your monologue, what do you think is at the brain level?
Yeah.
What's behind it? What do people feel the need for that they're not accepting the most likely interpretation of an event, rather the conspiratorial interpretation?
Well, I think that human beings are, and there are books about this. There's like tests about it. Human beings tend to believe what they're told in a deep way. When we hear something, our first instinct is to believe that it's true. We can check it. We have the ability to disprove it and then to believe it's not true. But our initial reaction is that things are true. And that's a big weakness that can be taken advantage of by manipulators. Because even though the damage is done essentially once you hear it. I'll give you an example of what Tucker Carlson is doing right now, which I think is I don't like to use the word evil, but it's just so bad. I don't understand. What I'm not sure about Carlson is he like a WWF wrestler who knows that what he's doing is a lie and is fake, and he's doing it for some other reason, money, fame, power, or does he really believe what he's saying? I think it's the first thing. I think that he knows, he's conscious.
I think there's some combination with him, but when it comes to his obsession with Israel,
But it's worse.
He knows the impact of it.
Yeah.
And when he says repeatedly he doesn't dislike Israel, I don't hate Israel. Why would I hate Israel? Why would I care about Israel? Right. He doesn't mean that. He actually hates Israel.
Right. So I think, right. Sometimes I know what you're talking about. It seems like he does. Candace Owens certainly does. Although we ask the same question about her. Like, is it mercenary? Is she just trying to make money? Because the lies are so they're bright people,
right?
But what I want to say,
you take this recent killing of Charlie Kirk, right?
Yes.
And the immediate need all over Twitter and elsewhere.
Well, Joe Rogan is the same. At least clips that I've seen of him. I don't know what's AI.
There's a lot of people like that who are jumping to the fact that there must be more.
Right.
There must be either the CIA, the Mossad, or other.
There's another human
but
need.
Why is there that need?
Because I think, that's a well-known. Because people, the world is a dangerous place. It's easy to die. Look at my father. Look at your father.
Right.
It's easy to die in the world, and so we control so little that we want to have explanations so that we can think we control more than we actually can.
I think there's that. I think that's the main one, probably, that you don't want to.
But look what I want to get to this.
Like at the brainstem level, almost, you can't accept that everything's random, and you need an explanation that's overarching to give you some comfort that there's meaning out there, or there's more than just molecules flying around. But I think it's even beyond that. Actually, I think it's also this need to attack, or this need to blame the other for your own problems. Like the Jews have that all the time, but it could be globalists. It could be the CIA. It could be whatever, that there's someone holding you back from what you should be doing, but for them, right? It's not your own lack of initiative, your own lack of intelligence, your own lack of drive, your own lack of talent.
You're talking about me?
Yeah. I'm talking directly to you, and I'm staring into your baby blue eyes. Are they green or blue?
They're greenish.
Yeah, I'm even colorblind.
I want to talk about just one more thing just about Tucker Carlson, which is what he's doing is so terrible. He now has just finished part 1. No one should listen to Tucker Carlson because of what we're saying. Don't give him any more listens. We will translate it for our listeners.
We will continue to do that.
Yes, we'll provide that service. But he has a series that he is doing about 9/11 and how not just questioning, but saying outright that the official version is a lie. The 9/11 Commission was a lie. That is such a terrible thing to do. I would say it's a terrible thing to do, even if it were true. Okay, even if the whole thing was an intentional lie, that would still be a terrible thing to do. Of course, not the whole thing was an intentional lie. Of course, there are things in it that over time more came out. And of course, there are things that people tried to hide. Of course, there are.
Of course.
Incompetence, malice even of some people. They don't want to talk about it. But to say that the whole thing's like is to take an axe to the tree trunk of faith and brotherhood in the United States. And that's a terrible, terrible thing.
Well, what's upsetting is not that there are these voices, it's that they're not fringe elements anymore. If you were to poll the U.S. population, how many buy, the official narrative or the facts of 9/11? No, it doesn't. That you'd find larger and larger segments, particularly of young people, particularly on the right, for whom this is gospel at this point. And I can't think. Maybe I'll ask you a question, Avi. Because I was going to tell you, my aunt said we need to, that's why I got to my aunt. She said we need to identify each other more because she can't tell who's speaking and she only wants to tune me in.
Right.
So I'm going to say Avi a lot. I said I have the more radiophonic voice.
Right.
I'm, good looking, funny, but you can't see me.
Less funny.
Yeah. Less funny is up for debate. Up for debate. I just did stand-up comedy and got a big laugh on one line.
From the guy you brought with you. He
wasn't drunk. It was earned. But I'm going to ask you, Avi.
Yes.
Of all the conspiracy theories, are there any that you buy or you think have some merit?
Of all the conspiracy theories, ever?
like the big ones. Meaning, because I don't think I do.
No.
None.
No.
Like that's normal. Like Kennedy was shot by Lee Harvey Oswald.
Right.
And
he was shot by the guy the police caught with the rifle.
Yes, so with Charlie Kirk, they're going crazy.
They're
looking at this video and from every angle describing how he was shot from the back. How can he be shot from the back? Like you can see the back. Like it's just too much. Go with the obvious answer. It doesn't mean that a conspiracy theory can never be true, and you can't just shoot the shaz and talk about things. But the problem is, and I know some people that are conspiracy theorists in our own community, they must feel like they got bitten in the butt. You know why? It all came back to us. It wasn't Bill Gates. It wasn't Big Pharma. It was like all these issues they've been upset about.
That's what I want to do, but
it's all coming back to us and us being like the Rothschilds and us and everything that goes with it.
I won't do this because I won't. I think we shouldn't use. The bad tool of conspiracy thinking, against the people doing it, because that's hypocritical. But let Candace prove that she's not a tool of AIPAC.
Well, she's being attacked for that right now.
Oh, is she?
Yes, it happened yesterday.
Oh, great. So
that meaning what came out is somehow something to do with her husband, who's like some English peer or something.
I don't know. She worked
this is the crazy part, that Charlie Kirk's wife is a Mossad plant. This is like big on Twitter right now. And somehow he and she were involved in getting her placed there, and that she's actually a Zionist agent. Now, this is absurd, but it's not going away. And my concern is really primarily focused on Israel, because we're the ones who are going to get hit the hardest by this. I'm not so worried about U.S. Jews in the short term.
I am.
But in the short term, but we need U.S. support. And you get enough blatant anti-Semitism out there and enough, if it becomes the norm to say that the U.S. is in Israel's pocket and that Bibi controls like a puppet master, everything that happens.
Can we call him Schmucker Carlson? So it's right there.
I never thought of that.
Schmucker Carlson. Huh. Schmucker doesn't roll off the lips, off the tongue.
You could do that.
But make the effort. Schmucker.
Schmucker.
So what did Schmucker say?
Carlson.
That's a good one. Schmucker Carlson.
What did Schmucker say about what?
Schmucker said exactly that Bibi's going around the Middle East saying that he's on someone else's podcast.
Going around saying Trump does whatever I want.
Bibi would never say that, even if he thought it.
Bibi's got to go.
All right, another topic.
Bibi's got to go. But I just want to say two things. Bibi's got to go for the simple reason that he's become
for the simple reason that he was prime minister on October 7th.
In
That's
the world.
A simple reason.
That's another good reason why he's got to go. But I actually today we're recording on a Friday. I can say that.
Oh man!
But today,
now you have to edit it fast.
Is the day after Trump said, "Oh, by the way, you're not going to be annexing the West Bank."
Right.
And I just went to like the comment section on Arutz 14, which is like the Fox News here in Israel,
right. And
they're losing their minds. They're like, "Who asked him? Who asked him?"
Right.
That's its own form of insanity.
Yes, it is.
To think that we could do something that contravenes what that man says.
You could do it, but it would have consequences.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something crazy because I hate Trump and I think he's a clown, but thank God for Trump. He's the last man standing in terms of supporting Israel.
Yeah.
And that's great. Like, thank you, Mr. Trump. I mean, you're nuts.
Yeah, he's not nuts. We're talking about this. I might have been right about him, but it's temporary.
He's temperamental, and it's temporary. Yeah. Did you hear that? I was listening to Candace today. Again, we're doing this for you guys. I listened to her at like 6 times speed. Mm-hmm. When Tucker laughs, I swerve off the road. It's so high.
Well, Candace serves two purposes for me, I have to admit, because I also count her as a black friend, because I don't have a lot of black friends.
Oh, I made one of my AIs, the Google one. What's that one called?
Bard?
No.
Gemini.
I gave it a black inner city voice.
Oh, nice.
It's good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's amazing. Yeah. Anyway, that's my best black friend. But I do have black friends. Go on.
I have Candace. Go on. You're saying.
Her line that she keeps repeating when she's talking about this and other things is that if someone tells a little lie, that's very suspicious.
Oh, yeah.
But people tell little lies all the time to make themselves look slightly better.
I don't know. People have said this. She needs help. She needs help. What I really recommend, let's wrap up this part of the podcast with this, if you don't mind. Noam Dworman, the owner of the Comedy Cellar in New York, has a podcast. It's the Comedy Cellar podcast, something like The Table or the Comics Table or something.
Okay.
Noam Dworman, he did a podcast on this. He had a guest, but the guest wasn't so relevant to the topic. And he lined up all the audio and video of them, like a mix of Candace saying the most virulent, dripping, rabid, anti-Jewish. It's like beyond anti-Semitic. It's medieval blood libel where the blood of the libel is dripping from her face. That's worth watching in full, that entire podcast. Same thing with Tucker.
Yeah, you know what it is online, what it's called. Like
Groiper?
There's Groipers.
What's a Groiper?
I think it's like the guys.
It's a Yiddish guy who like grabs your butt on the bus. He groiped me.
I have not met that guy.
Oh, I have met him several times.
Is he what? I don't know that guy. It's called the Great Noticing. The Noticing.
Yes, the Noticing.
Right. I'm noticing that they're overrepresented in pornography. I'm noticing that now
underrepresented.
They're noticing something that we've known.
Speaking of which, today I gave blood.
Oh, that's noble of you.
Yeah.
Like Christian baby blood or your own?
I gave my own blood.
Oh, it's not Pesach. Go on. Yeah.
Right. I gave, and a lot of people were there. It was in memory of someone from the community. Their family does a blood drive. And so I gave blood. And in the questionnaire, there's a questionnaire that you have to fill out. Are you sick?
Your favorite color? I know.
No.
Favorite music?
No, it's a questionnaire. Are you healthy?
Oh, that's a different questionnaire.
And one of them, it says, it wants to know, do you have any sexually transmitted disease? I guess so. It says, do you? It's in Hebrew, but I'm translating. do you have receive money for sex?
Do you, or meaning have you?
I think they mean, are you a sex worker or what you might call a prostitute or a gigolo if you're a male?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the exact equivalent of prostitute.
I don't know.
But anyway, so my immediate instinct was to market no.
Right.
But then I'm thinking, does that include like offers of a tip? Because sometimes I'm happily married.
Sure.
And sometimes I'll get, it was so terrific that can I give you $100 or
that happens?
No, it doesn't happen. But I think that would be funny. Like, doesn't include it, obviously, for an old married guy like me, that never happens. But for a young person, maybe they get offered it too. They're not a sex worker, but maybe one date went so well that
and they wouldn't know how to answer that.
And then how would you answer it? I mean,
Did you ask?
I did ask.
How'd that go? By the way, we'll end the anti-Semitism here.
I think
I'm not going to end anti-Semitism, but I was thinking, and I've thought a lot about like the fact that at its core, they're noticing something real, and that is that we're way too successful considering our numbers, Jews, and way overrepresented in many industries and among the wealthiest.
Not all of them, and not all of the ones you're thinking of are we actually overrepresented, but.
You're 100% wrong.
No,
you don't
I'm
know what
not.
I'm thinking about, and we are overrepresented, very much so.
What are you thinking about?
I don't know. Banking.
We're not overrepresented in banking
compared to our numbers in the U.S.
Compared to our numbers in the U.S. I know what you're defining banking, but
investment banking, hedge funds. Of course. What are you, nuts? I used AI. I took a look. I wanted to look at like what the Nazis were talking about, to better understand the Nazis. I looked at like Jewish overrepresentation. They were like 1% of the German population in different industries in 1933, like as Hitler came to power. Mm-hmm. The numbers are staggering. Mm-hmm. It's like 80% of private banking. It's like 30% of lawyers.
That's not true, but that's not, I mean.
What are you talking about?
Because I instinctively doubt those numbers because they don't measure credibly or accurately.
I don't understand what you're saying, and no one listening will. Jews are, now I'm not blaming us. It's an amazing thing that we're highly successful and driven, and we make it in society. We as a people. Now, if you're going to tell me Jews aren't overrepresented in certain industries, like the entertainment industry or in medicine or in law, or like you're just wrong. I'm talking about in the U.S. and in Europe, okay? In Israel, we're represented in the right way, okay? Except as pharmacists. Now, what I wanted to tell you was that I have a way to counter this great noticing. And I'm willing to put myself out there. Mm-hmm. And that is maybe, just thought of this, maybe some sort of advertising campaign where you basically show me, let's say, underachiever, sort of a schlump. Mm-hmm. I'm also a Jew.
Not quite a schmucker, but a schlumper.
A slumper. I'm also a Jew. Yeah. And I can open my bank account and I'm like, we're regular people.
You know what we could do? What was the name of that?
We're not masters of the universe.
What was the name of that actress who just did She Has Good Genes?
Yeah, I know her.
We could do like, not all Jews have good genes. And Perfect. It could have you
and
in
me.
it.
Yeah. And I would do it for free, I think, for the exposure. And maybe
that in itself is un-Jewish. I love this.
No
campaign.
Jew has ever said that. I'll do it for free. No, but I'm doing it for the exposure, for the podcast, for the eventual, sponsorships, and then the shekels come rolling in. Right. I'm not trying to help anti-Semites out there by stating the obvious that we're overrepresented, but anti-Semitism stems from. It's a tree that grows from many roots, and one of the roots is envy.
We're both using
always
tree metaphors.
Tree because of your father, and he gardened.
He did like to garden.
I loved it, and I think that envy root, like you're envious.
Root with an U.
Not sure. We do well. We try hard, but you know what? You should too. And there's a Jew like Benji also out there who's worse than you. Yeah. And keep that in mind when you start attacking the Jews. They should say the Jews except for Benji. That's fine. I don't like stereotypes.
Jew like you. Benji's a Jew like you.
Yeah. Like unsuccessful, kind of annoying, blaming other people for his own, shortcomings. This could work.
I think it could work. I think we're onto something.
Do you have a green screen? I want to stand by, I want palm trees behind me or something.
I think because they're
we have
green,
palm
they
trees.
won't
We're in
come
Israel.
out in the green screen. You're just gonna have.
Anyway, you wanted to change topics away from anti-Semitism, even though I think we came to some solution here.
Yeah, excellent. I did. I talked about sex worker. What else did we want to talk about?
Well, you were in such a rush to change topics. I assumed your Jewish devious mind was churning.
I want to add something
getting
else.
up the next topic
Well,
and not letting the audience into the fact that we are
Benji,
winging this thing.
Ben, do you notice my hands up?
Is this a joke or a topic?
No, this is it's unfortunately still related to the anti-Semitism. But I think that we are too worried about this. The Schmucker Carlsons and the Candace Owens, because Barry Weiss, who's a good guy of what used to be called the right. I mean, she's a conservative pundit. The Free Press, I understand, was offered to be bought by CBS or something like that. And I heard that can you Google this as we're doing this?
Well, I actually heard Candace talking about this quite a bit.
But for $100 million. Okay, now, if you would have asked me, you said CBS is about to make a bid for Barry Weiss called the Free Press. How much do you think it'd be worth? That would be like $1 billion. Now, that's because, but the actual market price is $100 million.
Well, that's because media companies don't go for much.
Yeah, but even if they didn't go for much, it means because that's all I listen to, or a lot of what I listen to is Barry Weiss in that world. I thought, and read also, I thought that it would be worth much more. No, that's actually getting a dollar amount, which is kind of an objective measurement. The market thinks it's only 100. I thought it would have been 10 times that. So that might also mean that I might think this problem is 10 times bigger than it is.
Well, you'd be wrong. Meaning there are metrics for that too. Like I'm looking right now. I pulled it up as you were talking while still listening to you.
Did you pull it up yourself, or did you have our assistant do that, Chris Kwok?
No, Chris did it. So Tucker Carlson's in at number 4. This is this week, right? You got Candace coming in at number 8, right? Joe Rogan is always number 1. It's not just
Joe
the podcast.
Rogan is also such an enabler.
And you got to go way down to find
Jump
any
Liver on the beach.
Friends. Jump Liver on the beach is down there somewhere. But I'm even looking for a good old Ben Shapiro. We're at now. I don't want to say something too controversial, but this war is killing us. Because and it's not to say that it's causing anti-Semitism, but it's allowing people to vent it. It's allowing people to focus on what they perceive to be these injustices that are happening, that they perceive. And it's really hurting Jews worldwide at this point. Do you think the war is ending soon?
I have no idea.
You're not in on that?
No.
I think it is.
I don't have the tea. I can't spill the tea.
Well, your son is in the army again, and mine is too.
Yeah. They're in reserve duty now. People who have grown with this podcast over the past, how long have we been doing this? More than a year.
Much more than a year.
They've gone together with us through our son's service, and now they're in reserve duty. My son is in a I guess I can't talk about the details. But contact me offline to find out what I wanted to say about my son.
Well, they're both in the north, which
north.
God willing is quieter. In fact, my son told me good news, which we knew on some level, and that is that when he got a security briefing of the area where he is, they basically said, look, when Hezbollah operatives or terrorists think of doing something, it's the Hezbollah leadership that's coming and don't mess with those Israelis. We can't manage any more of this. So we've done some amazing things during this war. Getting rid of Hezbollah is getting rid, but really decapitating them and weakening them significantly is a tremendous achievement. I do believe the war is ending soon.
Hopefully.
I also think that it's going to take a while for this country to recover. I find myself crying at the most ridiculously sappy things that bring back October 7th or that soldiers, hostages. I don't know where my head is, and I'm not alone with that. I was talking to a group of kids, And I just mentioned like the soldiers, and then I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like I'm starting to cry.
You start to cry. Yeah, I'm the same way.
It's too much. And there are people who have a lot more on their hands. Yeah.
Right. And that's also like, yeah, you're right that it's not good, but that's not our fault. And with very few good choices. You have to try to make the best choice among the possible choices. Is that obvious?
Did this war
tune into this podcast?
Question for you as a military man.
Aphorisms.
You know anything about the military?
I know. Shoot.
Well, meaning I've thought for a while that there's a real price to extending the war, to continuing on and on and on fighting, and there is a price, right? In all kinds of ways, in soldiers, but also in terms of world opinion and things like that. But do you think it needed? This is Monday morning quarterbacking, but like, did it need to take 2 years?
Yes. And you know how I know? Because it did.
That's the worst answer you've ever given to any question I've ever asked.
No, that's the anti-conspiracy thinking answer.
It's not an anti-conspiracy. It could be that the way we fought, or the methods we used, or the way we that we screwed up, that it could have been done in a year.
A circular question. Isn't it probable that a probable outcome resulted?
I don't understand what you're saying.
In other words, what happened is most likely not an outlier. Most likely. That's the definition of probability.
I'll give you an example. What we're doing now...
I'm giving you the example.
What are you saying?
When what happened is most likely what had to happen, or close to it. Most likely not very far.
You're nuts, actually. Meaning, if I'm driving from here to Tel Aviv, and I decide I'm going to drive at 5 kilometers an hour, I'm going to get there in a long time.
Yes.
And if I got there in a long time and I stood up and I said, did this need to happen this way?
Yeah.
It can't be, because you got here in a long time. The question is the decision making of going 100 versus 5. Now, my question to you is, and I don't know if you know the answer, is was there a way, being cognizant of the price of extending this thing, was there a way to do whatever we're doing in Gaza City long time ago? I don't know, like of trying to wrap this up a lot quicker.
I assume that there wasn't, because we didn't.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. People make mistakes. Armies make mistakes.
Yeah, no, people make mistakes.
At the Battle of Cannae.
But so you're asking me, in other words, in a perfectly waged war. So then,
not perfectly.
No, but let me ask you this question. Are you asking me? First of all, a big problem is how much ammunition did Israel have when the war broke out?
Not when the war broke out, like a year ago.
No, but a year ago, it was a year in. So how long would it have, if Israel had enough ammunition to do whatever it wanted, how long would the war have taken? That's the first question. And then what you need to do is say, well, it took time to get, assuming that they didn't have enough ammunition, it took them time to get it. There was also an embargo. They were also using it. So then you need to start that clock.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is that no war is waged perfectly. The initial conditions of this war were extremely disadvantageous for Israel because it was a surprise. I think that a lot of people need to account for the lack of general preparedness in the Israeli army, the amount of ammunition, the
lack of intelligence of where these tunnels were,
but also the types of weapons. And this concerns me a lot. We're we're like around 50 here, but
we'll wrap it up soon because it's almost Shabbat and we have delicious food at home.
Yes, but what I would say is this: the same. Prime Minister or President Zelensky.
I think it's president. President, I think.
And he spoke. I don't listen to what do you call it? Original sources. I only saw this written about, but he talked about long range drones, like the Shahed drones that Iran shot at us, and that they supplied to Russia, and Russia's fired. And now Russia produces them all by itself. And one of them was in the U.S. Or outside the Capitol or something like that. There was just a picture on the cover of the Wall Street Journal. The cover, I mean, the part was on my phone.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was the cover.
Okay.
And and Zelensky was saying how we're entering an age, and he's right, where the future is going to be very different from the past because all kinds of countries without large economies or advanced technology will be able to produce these kinds of dumb but relatively accurate, cheap to make, relatively powerful. 100 kilograms of explosive between 50 and 120 something. And fire them from a distance, sometimes with difficulty to attribute where they even took off from.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the future. And my question is Israel, the Houthis have those weapons. They fired one effectively at Eilat. They fired many of them effectively. Right. Over the past few weeks, one of them hit Ramon Airport. The Iranians fired hundreds at us. When we were at war and you have your Air Force in the air, you can shoot them down easily. The Shah is vulnerable to that. Future ones will be much less vulnerable to that. And also, you're vulnerable when your Air Force is not in the air, like last week in Eilat. Or this week in Eilat. My point is, talking about the war, we were ill prepared for October 7th. And it came as a surprise. We didn't expect that war to happen. But even not expecting that war to happen, I think we have a lot of tanks, but we don't have any weapons. We didn't have any, as far as I know, for destroying tunnels or for fighting the enemy that's in tunnels. Tanks, we need a tank that points down, not that points up.
Do we have weapons like that now?
I assume that there was some urgent development during the war, but that also takes time, and that's why the thing takes time. And maybe now we have some that are being implemented. I'm not sure we do. If we don't.
I'd like to think that you're right.
But the next war, Benji, is going to be that war with those drones. It is already. And my question is the Israeli Air Force getting ready for that one? Not just defensively, we have those laser systems, but offensively, just like we needed a tank that pointed at tunnels, do we have these drones, the capability that can be on par with countries that will be able to threaten us strategically, like Iran, like Turkey, who's a mass producer of these, and a very high quality ones, better than Iran. So that's
right. Every time we hit them, it's the whole Air Force.
So it's become a philosophy and military podcast. Is there a category on a spot? Maybe that's why we're not higher up, because we don't have a clear category. We're philosophy and strategery, to quote.
Those two things?
To quote.
Maybe that's a way to market us.
The impression that, what's his name, Dana Carvey did of George W. Bush.
An attempted comedy.
An attempted comedy.
Yeah.
I think that's a crime. I was once accused of attempted comedy, of aggravated attempted. Why do some crimes have an aggravated?
You get off
don't,
because it's unclear if you're even trying. Yeah.
Let me give you an example, Benji. There's a crime of aggravated.
There's no intent. So
I'm in the middle of a joke.
Yeah.
There's a crime. Why do some crimes have aggravated and others don't? For example, there's a crime of aggravated assault.
Sure.
There's a crime of aggravated battery, aggravated robbery.
Yep.
But like shoplifting, there's no aggravated shoplifting. And I shoplifted a sweater from Banana Republic. I got home. It was a small. And I need a medium at least. That was aggravating.
I'd like you guys to write into us as to whether anyone laughed. Also, I think we're at the end here. We're going to say good Shabbos to
Shabbat shalom.
Our worldwide listeners. Salam alaikum to that guy in Saudi Arabia. Yes. Keep it strong, brother.
And sometimes Dubai.
In Dubai, yeah. And I want to end now with a present to our listeners. Because I consider myself something of a cinephile.
A cinephile? It means you like sins?
That too. Not like all movies. The sins. Not the Ben Adam L'Chavero. And I...
well, you mentioned that Jews are overrepresented in pornography. I don't know if that was...
I read that. I'm not looking at the credits. So, you notice the credits are always in front now? Oh, no, they're always in the back now because people don't have that. In real movies, I guess. Like,
they don't do any credits in the beginning?
Barely. No one could sit through it. You can't sit through a movie anyway. But for our older listeners out there who love movies, I'm going to give you a movie a week.
Oh, nice. That means you have to do a podcast a week. Okay.
That's fine. I have a guest lined up. So I really do. I told you. So the first one, I was telling this kid about it that I walked home from shul with him. He's also a cinephile. And I told him, just watch Paths of Glory.
Paths of Glory.
Paths of Glory. I'm putting that out there. Stanley Kubrick, one of his earliest films. It's fantastic. It's a World War I movie.
Since you're a cinephile, I'm not going to ask you if it's pronounced Kubrick or Kubrick because you're supposed to know.
What did I say?
I'm not sure, but go on.
Kubrick.
I don't think so.
Kubrick.
I think it's Kubrick.
I think I got it right. Whatever I said.
Okay.
But anyway, that's the one for this week.
Paths of Glory.
Write in and let us know if you liked it.
Yeah, right.
It's a classic and it's anti-war, and that's the sentiment right now.
All right.
We want peace.
Benji, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. You're going to actually eat over.
Yes, I hope so. So, looking forward to that.
So tomorrow. I got to go cook something.
Yeah, please hurry.
Okay, fantastic.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.